Alright guys, so here's going to be a small little update for today. Going to try to make another video later today, but my GoPro needs to charge up. And whatever else. I did order a brand new battery for the GoPro, so hopefully we'll have better luck with that compared to the old battery, but should get at least, I think, about 30 minutes of runtime out of that, which hopefully I don't need all that, but got it charging up right now ahead of time. But anyways, I went and, well, I guess 366 planned on making that video before I even had a chance to, I don't know, I guess it must have been he planned on doing it before I got my video uploaded, but I guess he kind of already made a video about it, showing the linkages and everything, and how it's supposed to, look and work and all that stuff. And, yeah, it's pretty much the same as my truck. Actually, I think his truck would be a lot bigger than mine. I think his is an L160, which is kind of what we had, because I think his truck was rated for what, 18,000 pounds or whatever the hell it was. And now it probably would be in Canadian, whatever, US, I don't know what that would be. To me, it's 18,000 pounds, but maybe it's the same. Either way. But, yeah, so, trying to see what this guy's doing. I think he's putting out his trash. It's trash day today. That's lovely. So, I forgot to look at the, on his truck, the plate, that has the serial number and yada yada, all that crap. I guess apparently in his truck it's on the door. Forgot to look. So I wanted to see what my truck was rated for. But I know that I had talked to the old timer quite a few years ago, and he says that L130 should have no problems hauling at least 3 bales at a time, which 3 bales at a time is better than 1 at a time, like we do with the pickup. That's the reason why we're getting that thing running, is because we need a faster way of hauling around bales, because we eventually, this year we ran out of hay, but that was because we had to start feeding earlier in the fall, so we ran out of hay sooner. So for a good 2 or 3 months there, we were hauling bales with the pickup. Every few weeks we'd go and get a couple of bales. We still have 1 bale left, but we're saving that for whenever the cows decide to calf. Mine already did calf, but that was a fail. So the only one that's got left now to calf is my uncle's cows, and they haven't done anything yet, so who knows when they'll do that, but should be any time. You figure June or July, but it's got to be pretty quick here, you would think anyway. But yeah, like I said, that truck does have an engine problem, but I'm not too sure what it is. I don't know if it's a serious problem or if it's, I think it's probably just, well, I know it was the same way with the car, with that yellow car that we have too. That car didn't get drove a lot, and then I guess apparently it started making a kind of a funny noise or something, and then she took it to my regular grandma took it to a repair shop, and they said that since you weren't driving the car all that much. Now this was back when my great grandparents drove that car, that yellow one. They didn't really believe in going anywhere all that much. They only went somewhere if they had to, and they didn't go very far, because back in those days there were a lot more dealers and stuff close to home, and now dealers you got to go at least a good 30 minutes before you get to a nearest dealer of some kind. Unless you just need gas or diesel fuel, then you can go like half a mile and you'll be there. But if you need some serious parts for a tractor or something, most times you can get it at the gas station too, but some stuff you have to go through actual dealers. But they didn't really believe in driving their cars all that much, so that yellow car sat a lot. And I guess just from sitting most of its life and not really driving anywhere, I guess it started causing engine problems. And then, like I said, my regular grandma took it because she was the last person to ever drive the thing. they said that you would have to most likely get a new engine for it because this one's toast. I think you could just rebuild it, it'd be fine, but rebuilding is probably would cost more than just going finding another one at a junkyard, you know. But that might be the same problem with this grain truck too. It's just the fact that it never really got driven all that much. It's only got 56,000 miles, and probably for being not too sure when this truck was built. But I think I'm guessing this was an early 50s truck because it's just, you know, I don't know, that just seems like that's what, when I looked at parts for that truck, most of them were dated in the early 50s. So I'm guessing it's an early 50s, you know, truck. So, and last time it was on the road was in 86, I think it was. And then it's been sitting ever since, but I don't know if the miles would be accurate for that thing. I kind of doubt it because, I mean, it was a grain truck. It was meant to haul grain, but I don't know if my grandpa did much of that. Back when he was raising cattle, they were just mostly doing dairy cows because that was actually a thing back then. Because everybody was doing dairy back in those days. But the dairy business is actually really hard to get into because you got the big major companies now that are doing it, and they're just squeezing all us little guys out. So that's why when my great grandparents retired, my uncle took over, and he switched over. At the time, which was just the red cows, you know, for beef. Then a few years ago, probably about close to 10 years ago, I suppose, or something like that, we switched over to Angus because Angus was getting to be a really big thing, and now everybody's doing Angus because there's so much money to be made there. Now everybody was doing it, so now the market's crashing again. So, but yeah, so, but anyways, since that truck's been sitting so much, it'll probably have an engine problem. But I think if you just run the piss out of it, it might snap out of it. Who knows? Or it'll just run like crap forever until it decides to grenade. I guess, I don't know. Well, if it grenades, then I'll rip that engine out and go put a freaking Cummins in it. Then we're done with it. You know, like screw it. Just go put a diesel engine in it. And be done with it. So, but that'd be too much modifications to do that, to get a Cummins engine to fit in there. Plus the right transmission too. So, but yeah, so that's the plans anyways. We're going to try to get it to run. But I checked this. I don't know why International did this. This was actually kind of a poor design. I don't know why the hell. I mean, they did it with all these trucks anyway, but I don't know why they did it this way. So you have the linkage down there on the side of the engine. That's where your pedal hooks to, and the hand throttle and stuff. But what they did is they put a shaft, I guess apparently right through the engine block. I guess it's all part of designing it, but they went right through the engine block with that rod. And then you came to the other side, and then they had another rod, and that is what actually moved your carburetor, for your throttle there. Why they didn't just put everything on the left side? But then again, your spark plugs are there, but I don't know. They could have redesigned it a lot better than that, but that's the way they designed it. So, but anyways, that was I think the reason why it was so stiff is because it was going through the engine block, and I think there was getting to be a lot of crap building up in there, and that's what was making it hard to move. And I noticed that rod is slightly bent just a bit. That could have been from me beating on it too, who knows, but screw it, it'll be fine. So, yeah. So I think I got it loosened up enough to where I can move it with just my fingertips. So I think tonight I'm going to try to reinstall everything again and see how that goes. And I know Roosty 6 showed where the spring goes. I still gotta look exactly where it is. I mean, he showed where it goes, and it's most likely the same way with this truck too, but it's actually kind of hard to get your head under there because you got to really be underneath there to see that. So, but on his truck, he had like a little, it's like a little eye hook or a little bolt or something. Well, it looks more like it was made out of wire, but I think that was definitely a factory thing because his looked factory. But there's supposed to be like that little eye hook thing that was supposed to be there, and it's not there on my truck. So he said just to use a piece of wire. Well, I have some wire down in the basement. That's probably pretty small enough that would work. But how strong that wire would be to hold a spring, especially when you're mashing on the pedal. I mean, that wire could snap over time. So I was hoping to maybe use something a little heavier. Well, actually this wire might be okay because that stuff down in the basement, that's stainless steel, and I think that stuff's kind of flimsy. I think that's the thicker stuff. I think it's this stuff here. So this is all a tangled mess. But this is a little bit, well, this is a little bit thicker than right here. This is a little bit thicker than that 18 gauge that I have down in the basement. Because that stuff is, you know, like super thin. And then I have some really thick stuff, which is over here. Is that big roll right there? That's some really thick stuff there. That would really keep her in place. But the hole that apparently that's supposed to slide through is not going to be that big, so I'm not going to be able to use that. The only way you probably could use that is you'd have to drill out the hole. I ain't got time for that shit. So I think I'm going to try using this stuff first before going over to that 18 gauge because that's stainless steel. You know, it's much thinner stuff, and I think that would snap over time. This feels a little bit heavier, so I might get away with that. Because whatever that kind of eye hook thing that they had going on, yeah, good luck finding that. So, I mean, you'd have to go to a junkyard and see if you can find a truck that's close to that and see if they have that part still there. But nearest junkyard for any type of vehicle is probably like an hour away, and I ain't doing that. I might as well just redneck something up and it'll do just fine. So, but we do have one little problem. And I'm a little pissed off. I should be kicking something and screaming and having a hissy fit right now because I should have known better, but hey, you fuck up and you learn from it. So I have some sticks because I'm not going to be able to show how big those sticks are, but they're the sticks I use. I stick them down in the cylinders to check the level of the crap that's in the cylinders to see if those cylinders are stuck or not. I think that one might be stuck, but I haven't looked at it in a couple. I looked at it today, but it's been a couple of days though, early. And I think I think at least 2 of the cylinders are dry, so that's a chance that those cylinders are most likely definitely not stuck. So yeah, actually, I think this is the wire that I used that I have down in the basement. But anyways, actually, this stuff might be the same size. Well, we'll use the black stuff anyway. It looks better. It's harder to see that. This stuff, you'll be able to see it better. So, but anyways, yeah. So, one of the sticks, I guess, was kind of broken, and I didn't realize it. Slipped it down in the cylinder to check the level. Pulled it back up, and the other half went right back down into the cylinder again. So I got a stick in the cylinder. So how the fuck am I going to get that out? I have no goddamn clue. So that's kind of pissing me off because that's going to delay any possibilities of getting this thing freaking running. So I got pretty much, well, 3 choices. Choice 1 will be the easiest. Just pull the thing around and pray to God that when the cylinder comes free, it'll push the stick back up enough that I can grab it. 2, he'd have to tear the engine block apart, which I'm not fucking doing because it's just a waste of time. 3, let the stick burn up in the cylinder, then fuck it. The damn cylinder can crush it then, and you know, I mean, the stick will eventually fall apart anyway if it gets baked hard enough. So yeah, so that was a fucking that's just a dandy little frickin' thing that happened today. It's just like, you know, it's one of those frustrating days. You know, that's how it is with me. I try to work on shit, try to put shit together, and sometimes it's got to kick me in the ass. I just can't ever win. So those are pretty much my choices. You know, pray that the cylinder will push it back up out of the hole, and then, or tear the engine down, which I don't want to do. I really don't want to do that. 3, I guess just pray that it burns up before it does any damage to the cylinder. So, because I don't really know what else to do, because like I said, tearing that engine block down just to get to one of the cylinders is really just a pain in the ass. Tried doing that on the farm all, and one of the bolts was like just seized right on. So I know it's going to be the same way with this fucking truck too. So yeah, so what to do there? And it sucks too because that cylinder, I believe, is all the way down. So yeah, it's a long ways down there. So I have no clue how I'm going to get a stick out. It's just like a little, you know, tree branch kind of stick. It's not like an actual stick that was made. It just come off a tree. So I have no clue how I'm going to get that out. Unless they make some kind of a magnet thing for sticks. But I imagine they don't make such a thing. So, and it has to be a pretty small one too to get down the spark plug hole. So I don't really know what else to do there because I don't want to stick anything else down and then I lose it. So best bet is just to leave it, I guess, and see if the cylinder, if we do get it free, the engine, see if the cylinder will push it back up, and pray that it'll push it out the hole and then we can just grab it. If not, well then it'll just have to shred itself into little bitsy pieces in the cylinder. And pray it all burns up without causing too much issues. Because I have no clue how I'm going to get a little stick out of a cylinder. So, but yeah, that kind of pisses me off. But yeah, I'm going to try to put all the throttle linkages and stuff back together. The hand throttle thing, I'm not putting that back on because I cut the wire. Because that was the only way it's going to come off. Because I was trying to, because you can uncurl the little curl that they have going on there, but somehow, again, it's obviously a factory thing, they just cut the freaking loop so short that it's damn near impossible to get a pair of pliers on them to bend it back over. Then you're kind of like, you're bent over, because this truck's in the ground, so it's, you know, you have to bend over. You know, compared to his truck, Roosty's, where it's not sitting in the dirt like mine is, you know, like he was saying, you had to climb up on the bumper just to reach down in there. Well, I don't have to stand on the bumper with mine. I can just lean right over the fender and in I go. So it's hard on the back and it's hard on my fat gut. If I didn't have this fat gut, it'd be a lot better, but yeah. So I want to try to put that, try to put the throttle back together, because I think it's moving enough now where it should move on its own. The spring, I think I said in the last video that I found it. Well, this one's broke, but what's broken is just that one of the ends popped off that had a curl on it. So I just put a new curl on it. So the spring's going to be a wee bit shorter, but fuck it. You know, I can adjust the attention with, you know, with this stuff. I'm just going to get like a foot-long piece to start with. And then if I think that there's too much slack in the spring, then I'll just pull it tighter. Just keep pulling it tighter until I think it's right where it should be. So, because there's nothing wrong with the spring, it's just that the one end broke off. And I think, well, just putting a new loop in it will solve my issue, not having to go look for a new spring. Yeah, I can go buy a brand new spring. I mean, there's millions of different kinds. But why? When you could probably just, you know, just do what I did. I just put a brand new loop in mine. And, yeah, I'll just pull it tight with the wire. Take the slack out of it with the wire and then, you know, tighten her down, crimp it, do whatever I got to do and be done with it. So, but yeah. And I also got to go look for a goddamn wrench, or not a wrench, but a pair of pliers. My uncle said he's missing his big giant pair of pliers. He says that they were on the tractor, but he thinks that it's laying out in the field now because of when we were pushing trees. He thinks that it probably fell off. So I gotta go retrace my steps and see if I can find a pair of pliers and see if I can find it. Wish I had a metal detector to make life a lot easier. And I gotta work on my pump, my little, what is it, half horse something? I don't know. Yeah, half horse poopy pump. Because it quit working on me again. I think because the wire's cut, but you know, I did my redneck repair. It works for a while until that spot gets wet. I think I'm just going to buy me a new pump. This one's had a poopy life anyway, and it's moved thousands of gallons. So I imagine it's pushing close to 100,000 gallons I've moved that pump in the last couple of years. So I imagine the pump's probably getting tired anyway, but the cord's destroyed and I don't know. Do I really want to tear into that wire and try to figure out what the hell's wrong with it again? I was just going to plug it back in and see if it kicks in on its own, but I think it's that bad spot in the wire. It got wet again, and obviously then it just doesn't work. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on there. I'm going to start putting the truck back together, and then that's going to be later. That's going to be later on this evening. Too hot right now, and whenever I can get the air tank, get it filled up with air, I can put some air in the tires, see if they'll even hold frickin' air, and then maybe we'll give her a tug-a-rooney and see if we can get her to pop free. I checked the Farmall. All the cylinders are dry but one, so that one that's still holding liquid, that's the cylinder that's giving me trouble. That's another thing that we need to try to pull sometime this summer too, is that Farmall A. We haven't done that yet. We did it a couple times last year, but that was because, we didn't soak the cylinders either. So the cylinders have been soaking pretty much all winter and most of the summer now. So pretty much it's narrowed down to just that one cylinder. That's giving me the trouble. I'm pretty sure that's the one that's seized. So. But if it's just one cylinder, that's kind of a good thing. But just how can one cylinder stop the tractor from like moving? You know, it's like, I imagine those cylinders ain't really that big. I mean, imagine they're a little bit smaller than a car, but I don't know. But well, that thing must just be crammed full of fucking rust if I can't break it free with force. But I'll try that sometime this summer. See if we can break the sucker free. If not, well then I'll let it sit for another year. Or it might even just sit, I guess, until I feel like taking it somewhere, or taking it to somebody that knows what the hell they're doing, and they can tear that engine block apart and free it up. Because there's only so much I can do before I gotta say the hell with it, and you have to pay somebody else to do it. So, but whatever. Anyway, guys, I guess I'm going to take off. Just wanted to give you guys a little update to what else going on. Yes, I got the throttle linkage to move, so all that is good. The choke lever moves. I checked that, and that works like it should. The hand throttle, that thing's been cut off because it's stupid. Frickin' thing's seized anyway, so I don't really need it anyway. So, if I want to put a new one, if I want to put it back on, I'll have to buy a new cable then or something for it. Yeah, and then I dropped a stick down cylinder. So, if anybody has any ideas on how I can fish out a stick, I guess throw them at me. But, might just have to leave it in there and pray that it doesn't do any damage to the cylinder while it's baking its ass off. Unless, like I said, unless it comes back up the hole when the cylinder does come free and it slides up, you know, maybe it'll push it out the spark plug hole. But I kind of doubt it. It'll probably most likely just sit there and it'll get crushed and fall into a million little pieces. Thank God the stick's dried out, so like if it does get crushed, it'll just disintegrate into a bunch of little pieces. And then you could just, I don't know, I guess soak it in diesel fuel or oil or something for a while, let it get really mushy, and just pray that it falls between the cylinders and down the cylinder walls and into the oil pan, and then we'll flush it out that way. But whatever, screw it. So anyways guys, I guess I'm going to take off, so I guess have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, take her easy.